Hello students. So today we are going to talk about module 5, laser and fiber optics, in which today I'll be covering about laser only. Point of discussion that we will cover is history, why laser, properties, basic phenomena, main components, principle of laser. Okay? So first let us talk about laser. I am writing the full form of laser. Not half we can say, but basic phenomena of laser are explained in its full form itself. Okay, see, what is the full form? Light, I'll write amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Now, you would have noticed one thing, that I have written three words over here with some different color. There is lined up purpose for this, that I am writing these words with some different colors, and I will be discussing this slowly when we will be getting with the points of discussion, right? So laser full form is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Fine. Let us talk about its history first. History. In this, there is a very important word, that is stimulated emission. For the beginning, I'll just tell you. Suppose there are two energy levels. We know in any compound, any chemical, there are always energy levels. Suppose there are two energy levels, E and E star. What is E star? E star is excited energy level. And what is E? E is your lower energy level. So this is higher energy level and this is lower energy level. If the atom is present in the higher energy level, it transits to the lower energy level, and this process is known as stimulated emission. Okay, not exactly stimulated emission. This process is known as emission. Right now I am not talking about stimulated emission, I am sorry. This process is known as emission. Over here in laser the word is coming stimulated emission. Okay, so after discussing the history, I'll tell you what this emission is all about. But why I'm talking about this transition? Because in 1917, Einstein already predicted this transition. When it was not even there in any any course or any book, or it was not talked about scientists. But in 1917, Einstein, he predicted about this transition, that I just draw and rub that. Then in 1953, Newman, he showed the concept of semiconductor laser. He was just talking about the concept of semiconductor laser. In 1958, with the help of this emission, stimulated emission, Townes and Shallow, they both made a device with the help of this phenomena, that is maser. What is maser? Maser is microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So in 1917, the Einstein that predicted about this emission, the concept of a bit in semiconductor laser was discussed by Newman in 1953, and in 1958, Townes and Shallow, they come up with a device having this phenomena, that is stimulated emission. But that was in microwave region. Then scientists thought that if it is in microwave region, why not it is in visible region? So many scientist groups were working on it, that we can bring this phenomena in visible region. And what is the range of the visible region? The range of the visible region is from 4500 angstrom to 6500 angstrom, right? Just after 2 years, in 1960, Maimon made the first laser, that is light amplification, and that was in the visible region. Which region it was? It was in the visible region. Neyman made the first laser. Okay. And in the same year, 1960, Ali Jawan and his colleagues, they built another gas laser. Why I am talking about these two? Because in this module we'll be discussing about both these lasers. The one Neyman made in 1960 and the one Ali Jawan made, right? But the first laser was invented by Neyman. Okay, so this is all about history. Next, let us talk about why laser. Why are we talking about laser? What is the requirement that we are talking about laser in engineering, right? See, I think now all are knowing that laser is everywhere. If you go to a mall, you are having a barcoding, that is with the help of laser. If something is scanned, that is with the help of laser, right? In medical field, if you go for an eye treatment or if you go for anything, all those are with the help of laser. If you join military, there are laser guns, and I think everybody is knowing that laser applications are now worldwide, commercially used, and even they are very, very powerful. So we are talking about laser over here. Okay. So next point of discussion was why we are talking about laser, because of its application. Why laser? Huge application in every field. Right? Whether we talk about scanners or we talk about barcoding or military or we talk about medical and many more. There are applications of the laser in welding, cutting, material processing, many more. Fine. So we should always know why we are talking about this. And in engineering, now imagine if there is some material processing going on. So who will be the responsible engineers over there? There will be mechanical engineers also involved. There will be electrical engineers also involved. Plus CS, computer science engineer, because any sort of laser works on softwares and hardwares only. So the development will be interlinked and interdisciplinary. So all engineers should know about the laser. Okay, so this is why we are talking about laser. Next point of discussion. What makes laser different than other sources? Why, too much of use of laser and applications are there in different fields? That is properties. What makes laser different? What are its unique properties? So if I talk about laser and a normal conventional source, suppose there is a normal bulb. So we know that if we light a normal bulb, it will illuminate the whole room. Illuminating the whole room means no doubt it is in visible range, but if we draw its Gaussian surface of that intensity, it will be broad. Right? It will be bit broad. But if we make a yellow laser only, suppose a bulb is illuminating yellow color and we are taking that visible part only. If we make, this is from a bulb, the width of this is from a bulb. But if we talk about laser, the width of the illumination or the intensity will be just like a peak. Very, very, very close. Very close. It is almost like a line, but there is no perfect coherent source or something like. So what is this known as? These properties give rise to the properties of laser, that is, first, laser is highly monochromatic. Laser is highly monochromatic. It is highly unidirectional. Less divergence. High intensity. Okay. So these properties make laser different than the normal source. Have you seen a pointer? I think everybody has seen a pointer, right? So you can just connect it with, laser. And when you point in any direction, what is the role of the pointer is that it will be pointing, if you are pointing it on light, the color of the pointer will be just over here. The light that is being, it is giving an output will be over here only, and it is unidirectional, it is not spreading. So you can easily say no, light is over here. And same thing if you do it with a bulb, are you able to do? No, we are not able to do. So similar are the properties of the laser. It is highly unidirectional. Unidirectional means when it is the intensity of the laser output is pointing in one direction. Uni means one. Highly monochromatic. Mono means single. Chrome stands for color. So highly monochromatic means single color. We know the lasers are of single color. You have seen the laser, I think in our musical fountain also nowadays there are laser shows. Less divergence, because their divergence is very very less when the output of laser beam is taken for any sort of purpose. High intensity, and if we confine the light in one direction, no doubt the intensity will be moved. So these properties make laser very unique and very different, and therefore there are huge applications of laser. Okay. Now, next that we will be talking about basic phenomena. What are the basic phenomena that are, that are applicable in laser? First, I'll talk about the two phenomena. One is absorption, and the other is emission. Okay, so let us start. First, absorption. These two phenomena are the basic phenomena of laser. Without these phenomena, no laser is possible. So what is absorption first and foremost? Let us consider any material, gas, liquid or solid. We know that there are some energy levels in those. For our simplicity right now, not going in very much in complications, we'll just take two energy levels. What are those two energy levels? One is E and the other is E star. What is E? E is the lower energy level and E star is the higher energy level. And we know if any compound chemical is there, it is having atoms, electrons in it. So, where is the tendency of atoms to stay? Very right, you all are thinking. The tendency of atoms to stay is at the ground level. So, wherever the lower energy level is there, the number of atoms will be lying over here only. Right? But now see, for laser, the process that is written is stimulated emission. And emission, when I was discussing that in 1917, Einstein predicted about emission. So what was the emission? The emission was the transition of atoms from the higher energy level state to the lower energy level state. So if the transition is from higher energy to the lower energy, then we need to bring the atoms to the higher energy level state, because atoms' tendency is to stay to the ground level. or the lower energy level, right? So if number of atoms are over here, okay, and we need to bring these atoms to the higher energy levels, or we need to transit these atoms over here, what is required is that an external energy source is required. Okay, over here, for simplicity I will just consider one atom. Okay. Over here, that external energy source is photon. What is it? It is Hd, photon. Okay. So what photon will do? Photon will strike this atom, and this atom will gain energy and move to the higher excited state. This transition, you can listen carefully, this transition from lower energy state to the of atoms to the higher energy state is known as absorption. And because we are using an external energy source, therefore this is known as stimulated absorption. What is the meaning of stimulated? Stimulate means is to provide some external energy source, right? So we don't write stimulated absorption, we don't write induced absorption, but it is stimulated and it is induced. So what will happen? Atom will jump to the higher energy state, or over here our higher energy state is E star. So now where atom is? Atom is over here after the transition. So over here what has happened is absorption is already now done. Fine. And it is not, and there is some forbidden states and some allowed states. So if we want this transition to happen, what is required is the difference of E star minus E, or the difference between the two energy levels, should be equal to Hν. Then only the transition is possible. So this is known as absorption. Okay, and now I think it might be getting a bit clear in your mind that without absorption, emission is not possible, because tendency of atoms are to stay in the ground state, and for emission we need number of atoms on the higher state. Until and unless absorption is not there, no emission is possible. Therefore, no doubt stimulated emission is required in laser, but one of the important phenomena is also absorption in laser. Okay, so this is your absorption. Fine. Next we will be talking about emission. I'll just rub this side. After absorption, we'll talk about emission. Now, in emission, there are two types. First is spontaneous, and the other is stimulated. Both the emissions are possible in laser, but what is required? Therefore, I have not yet rubbed the full form of laser. What is required? Stimulated emission, right? But both the phenomena are important for laser. Stimulated emission also and spontaneous emission. Spontaneous emission give rise to the stimulated emission. And before that we discussed about absorption. Absorption is also one of the important phenomena of laser. Okay, so in emission we are talking about spontaneous and stimulated. What is the meaning of stimulated? We talked about some external energy sources required. What is spontaneous? Spontaneous means self, by own. We know when the atoms are there in higher energy state, okay, it will not stay, because atoms are having the tendencies to stay in the lower energy level. So will it stay for longer? No, it will not stay for longer time. Okay, what will happen? With its own life decay, time, they will automatically jump to the lower energy level. So when they are doing it by self or automatically by its own, timings or own self decay, then that is known as spontaneous emission. And stimulated is external. So now let us see with the help of diagram. That will be, I think the picture will be more clear then. So within the two, first I will be talking about spontaneous emission. Okay. So what, I'll again draw the two energy levels for the simplicity. One is E, this we are considering as low energy level, and the other is E star. This we are considering for higher energy level. So now the emission process is going on. It means what? It means now already the atom is there in the higher energy level. Okay? If the atom is already there in the higher energy level, then only emission is possible. So we are already talking when the atom is there in the higher energy level. Now this higher energy level is having its some self lifetime. So after that lifetime decay, what will happen? This atom will automatically jump to the lower energy level. And this transition from higher energy level to the lower energy level is known as spontaneous emission. What is it known as? It is known as spontaneous emission. So by its own, not by any stimulating or by any external source. So what will happen after spontaneous emission, where the atom will transit, it will transit to the lower energy level. Okay, and this transition is known as spontaneous emission. Again, what should be the difference of the energy level? It should be E star minus E is equal to H nu. And when this atom is transiting from higher energy to the lower energy, there will be a radiation or a photon that will come out of H nu. Okay? So this is the process of spontaneous emission. Fine? Next, we will talk about stimulated emission. What is the meaning of stimulated emission? Stimulate means something external. Some external source is required. Again, the external source that is required is what? Is your photon over here in this case. So what will happen? There will be again a photon of H nu that will strike this atom, and what will happen? This atom will transit to the lower energy state. But over here, there is one more condition that is happening, or one plus point is happening, we can say. When the atom transit to the lower energy level, no doubt there is one photon that is already emitted in the form of radiation, and there is one more photon that is emitted in the form of radiation. So now this is a plus point, na? Stimulated emission, we are getting more radiations. Plus, they both are in coherence. Now what is the meaning of coherence? The photons that are emitted, okay, in the photons that are emitted, if we say that they are in the sinusoidal form, then the phase difference between the two are constant or either zero. That gives the coherency. Right? What is the meaning of coherence? Coherence, that is also one of the very important property of laser. Coherence is, suppose there is, for simplicity we are talking about two photons in laser. So suppose there are two photons, and if the crust to crust and trough to trough matches exactly of that radiation, then they are said to be coherent. Okay, so they are in perfect coherency, right? So therefore, and if we are getting perfect coherency, what will happen? We will get high intensity, we will get unidirectional light because that will confine. So plus in stimulated emission we are getting more photons, and right now 1 photon strike we are getting 2, similarly 2 photons will strike, we get 4. Therefore in laser, stimulated emission is very, very important. And with the help of stimulated emission, there is laser output that we gain. Spontaneous is just to begin that stimulated emission. Okay? Fine. So I think we talked about basic phenomena, and now we know why in the laser phenomena stimulated emission word is written, right? Now for amplification, what is the meaning of amplification over here? So we'll talk about main components of laser in bilkul simple manner. Right now I'm not talking about any sort of laser. I'll just give you a gist of what are the main components that is required. Next topic is, the fifth topic that we are discussing is main components. The main components of laser. One is, the first one, that is active medium. I'll just tell what are all those. The other is